And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the LYF Matters podcast. I am your host, as you know, Keyonna Monroe. And LYF, if you're new here, stands for loving yourself first. And LYF Matters. And this is a show where we talk about any and everything that has to do with mental health, emotional health, self-love, worthiness, and how to unlearn behavioral patterns that do not support the love, life, and the life journey that you want for yourself. And I have here with me the love of my amazing life. He's probably like one of my closest friends who I've told like the most secrets to within like the first 24 hours ever.
Yeah, we talked. Oh Lord.
Let me tell you something. When you meet someone and you can create a safe space to just be yourself at the gate.
Yes.
That's worth keeping in your life. That's a friendship worth building and creating. And we have here the one and only Laterras Whitfield. Laterras, how are you?
Great to be on your platform finally. We've been talking about this for the last year and a half.
Yes, we have. I came to yours in Dallas, Dear Future Wifey. You guys have seen it. If not, you have to go watch his show. It is absolutely amazing. It's authentic. It's a lot of vulnerability. It's fully transparent, and it's real stories about real love and heartache and healing, and just yeah. How's it going? Thanks for coming.
It's going great. We're approaching 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. We had 93 at the time of this interview, 93,000. And so in just 2 years, God has grown that thing exponentially. And so I'm honored to. I never thought that my vulnerability, me being transparent and going through my healing in front of the world would resonate with people in the way that it has. And it's truly life-changing.
Wow. Yeah, I know it has. Some of those shows really like had me in tears. Some of them had me laughing. Some of them really had me in tears because it's relatable.
Yeah.
It's relatable on so many levels. And do you have a new season coming up?
Yeah, we just started season 5, June the 1st. And so season 5 is just general. The last 2 seasons, season 3 was about marriage. We unpacked the marriage vows and what that truly means. And then season 4 was about these dating streets. It was dedicated to all of us singles. And now season 5, we went back to the original format of season 1 and 2, where we just talk about, you'll have singles on, you'll have people married, people who don't want to ever get married, the whole gamut. We're just going to start unpacking everything.
Yeah. I'm coming back.
You coming back?
I'm coming back.
We may need you on a panel or something. I plan on doing a lot more panels. I want some panel discussions or whatnot. So yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's jump into this thing, and because it's very my audience knows this is just very conversationalist and just chatty couch style conversations. So let me ask you a question. With all of the interviews that you've had, right? What has been maybe the common theme or the common thread when it comes to the dating and the relationships mentally and emotionally?
The main common theme is people not understanding their emotional availability. Emotional availability is very key, because you may think you're ready for a relationship, but relationships require so much of you. And if you're not in the place to sacrifice emotionally, and sacrifice is simply saying, hey, listen, it's not about my needs right now. It's about what the purpose in your life that I'm supposed to serve. Yes, your needs should be met, but it should be reciprocal. It should be, hey, listen, in a relationship, hey, I'm trying to meet your needs, and you're trying to meet my needs. And that's how both of our needs are getting met. But if we come from it from a selfish standpoint, like you're going to do this for me and you're going to do this, then you're already out. You're already starting wrong. So the emotional intelligence part is simply saying, hey, I've gotten to a place in my own inner healing, and now it's time for me to share that love. You're going to be blessed by the overflow of the love that I already give myself. And so, what I find is a common thing is people aren't emotional, intelligent enough to know that it's about the other person, and they haven't done the work and healing in order to avail themselves to be their best version for that next relationship.
I agree. I always tell people, an emotionally healthy relationship starts with emotional intelligence.
Yeah,
And a lot of life and EQ, right? Loving yourself first and emotional intelligence
yeah,
has to start in the stillness within yourself. Number one, people are unaware to express the experience of love for themselves. And I say this, you have to be intimate with you. There are 4 levels of intimacy, right? There's
hmm,
spiritual intimacy, which is what you do to ground you, what you do for your spirit with God and you, right? That's a relationship that you need to have for yourself, right?
yes,
And then have and be with somebody who has a relationship of their own, and now you guys can start to experience that level of intimacy together. Then
yes.
you have intellectual intimacy. What do you do? And for me, that's a big one. I like to be
For me too, because I'm a
intellectual.
sapiosexual, so that's important to me. So go ahead and unpack that.
Right. So intellectual intimacy is sharing and understanding what you value, what you're interested in, what you like to learn. I'm constantly reading books. I'm
Yeah.
constantly learning new things, right? Education and knowledge and being
Hmm.
stimulated, learning new things, right? That is so like stimulating for me. Like I
Yeah.
love being taught something new, right? So how I'm intimate with myself for that, I can be able to teach somebody how I'm intimate with me, and then I can learn how somebody is intellectually intimate with themselves, and now we can experience that together. We can share those values, we can share that knowledge, we can share that within ourselves. Then you have experiential blah, blah, blah,
Yeah, I know that's
experiential,
excellent.
experiential intimacy, right? So it's experiences. And I tell people, what is a loving experience like with
Yes.
you, right? Can you describe what am I going to experience by loving you?
Yes.
Can you teach me what that's going to be like, right? For me, it's like, all right, here's experiences with me as going out to eat, right? Traveling, um and going to concerts, doing things that I love. Closeness and vulnerability is a part of the experience. What's it like to be close to me? What's it like, to desire myself and be with myself and learn how to
Yeah.
be my own best friend? I can show you what that's like, right? Because I'm
Yes.
intimate that way with myself. And now I want to be with somebody who can show me what that intimacy with themselves is like. And now we can experience that, right? To together. And
Yes.
even having and the emotional intimacy, that's
Yes.
another level. How do I lie to myself? Am I honest with myself? Am I transparent with myself? Am I vulnerable with myself? How do I speak and think and behave when it comes to myself? How do I treat myself? How do I honor myself? All of this emotions that I have, do I manage my emotions or do I allow my emotions to have power and control over me? These
Yeah.
are the levels of intimacy that you have to have with yourself, right? And in order to understand the emotional intimacy, you need to understand emotional intelligence. You need to validate how you feel, be aware with what it
Yeah.
is that you feel, be able to manage what it is that you feel when it comes up and honor those things through boundaries, right? With clarity, and then be able to empathize somebody else's wants and needs and desires and how they feel. And it's really important to have that in order to have a proper intimacy box,
Yeah.
right?
So why'd you leave off the physical intimacy?
That's not a part of the four intimacies.
It is
That's
a
the
part of
bonus.
it.
That's you have emotional experiences,
Yeah.
intellect, and spiritual. Now there is a bonus, like there is with emotional intelligence. There's 4 pillars, but some say that there's 6. Um, so for the additional one, it is physical intimacy. But physical intimacy, well, I guess how I do that is how I treat my body. how I care for my body, how I satisfy my body. I need to be able to tell you what I like, and what I don't like. I need to be able to tell you what I like, what I don't like. Don't touch me right here, or I don't like
Yeah,
this, like that.
exactly.
Right. And so it's important for me to have that healthy type of intimacy on all levels. I can tell you right now, when you say, Keyonna, what does loving you feel like? What's the experience of you? I've spent so much time at the address of my heart that I can give you clear directions and navigate you on how to get there.
Hold on. You gotta let that settle. That's powerful. I spend so much time at the address of my heart. When I tell you that is so profound, like yeah, that needs to just settle. That's a powerful statement because it takes us. I love that. In order for we always think that people have to know everything about us without us being able to communicate our needs. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and a lot of times when a guy says or a woman says to her significant other or love interest, what do you need of me? And be like, well, I don't know, you'll just figure it out. And then as he's trying to figure it out or she's trying to figure it out, we get so upset instead of us doing the work where we
Mm-hmm.
know what we need and we can communicate that exactly how you said. I spend so much time at the address of my heart that I know how to communicate my needs. I need you to do this. I feel loved when you do this. It's a turnoff when you do this. This bothers me. I feel unloved. I feel unheard when you do this. It
Mm-hmm.
makes me feel like I'm not prioritized when you respond like this. It makes my emotions feel like I don't meet. When you've done the work and you're able to, as you said, I've spent so much time at the address of my own heart. How in the world do we expect someone else to have the key to our heart when we don't even know what they're unlocking to begin with?
Right. How can you give clear directions for someone to navigate to the center of your heart if you ain't never lived there? You know what I'm saying? If you ain't spent enough time there, do you know every room? Have you
Hmm.
decorated every room? Have you cleaned out the spaces? You know what I'm saying? I can close my eyes like the back of my and read it like the back of my hand of how I receive love, what I like, what I don't like, what turns me on, what turns me off, what triggers me, what soothes me, how I care for me, what brings me joy, what makes me laugh, what causes me pain, all of those things, right? And I always say you cannot require somebody to give you something that you aren't giving yourself. You can't require for somebody to become something that you are not, right? And then I've asked plenty of people, how do you receive love? And they're like, what? And I teach that. I always say, what is it that you value? What's your love language? And then are you experiencing your own love language within
Yeah,
yourself, right? And then two, having your hierarchy of needs, right?
yeah,
I talk about this crayon theory that I teach and I created. And really what it is sometimes it in the stillness of getting to know yourself, you know what you desire, right? I desire, for example, what a purple love, right? And I have taken so much time to know me that I know I'm a red crayon, right? So there's no way that I'm going to date a yellow crayon because I'm going to get orange love, and that's not the type of love that I want. And most times, people don't know what kind of love they need for themselves, and they spend so much time talking and dating and being with someone and not asking the right questions because they're not dating intentionally, right? That they're dating a yellow crayon that they're hoping that therapy could fix. Right?
yeah,
It doesn't matter. You can change the wrapping all you want. This person's core is yellow. You need
yeah,
a blue crayon. And not only do you need a blue crayon for purple love, you need a blue crayon that wants purple love. Don't date a blue crayon that wants green love because then you'll try to create an image of being a yellow. And that's not who you are if you
that's
if you're
good.
a red, right? And in order to know that when dating intentionally, you have to offer, like what I say, primary love. Primary love is the ability to create a safe space for someone to be authentically themselves, to be vulnerable and transparent with the knowledge that you are committed to understanding them, to accepting who they are for who they show you to be, in the space and the season that they're in right now. And you can, and it doesn't mean that you're going to condemn or judge them. You're going to try to understand them. And if they are for you and if you are for them, then you will grow and evolve together. If not, then it's okay to release somebody with love because they're not your crayon. And that's good. And that's
When I
okay.
say that's good, when I say I done got 50 million ideas about what your book cover looks like, what seminars look like, how crayon became a sponsor of it, and how you hand out different crayons to different people, and oh yeah,
Right? Right?
yeah,
And I
that's a
say it all
dope
the
theory.
time. And
That's
the
dope.
only way for you to understand your crayon, and I taught this at a workshop, and I'll be teaching it at the retreat, is understanding what you value. You have to understand your why so that you know why not, right? And that is truly unlearning conditioned programming and unpacking what is your idea of love? Who showed you love? Who taught you love? How did you experience love growing up? Is that how you want to experience love as an adult? You know, what matters to you? What do you value? What's your self-concept? What's your view of yourself? You know, what are your boundaries? What are your goals, right? When you truly understand who you are, what you want, what you desire, and how you want to move in this world that we live in, right? Then you date intentionally and you look for someone who shares the same values, because in life we're never going to um remain the same. You want somebody that you can evolve with and grow with. And one thing that I taught was, you can be with somebody and people's like, well, I want who I was, you know, who I married 10 years ago. I want the man, or I want the woman I was with 5 years ago. The core of that person is going to be the same,
Yeah,
right? That crayon color, that is, I'm a red crayon always. Now I might change into a vegan, right? So you're either going to grow and evolve with me and try to, you know, eat a little bit of impossible meat. You know, I might, you know, once upon a time I wasn't willing to travel, but now I'm a huge traveler. But my core is still a red crayon. My values, my self-concept, my beliefs, my morals. I am who I am, and you can grow and we can evolve together, right? But when dating, you want to ask the right questions so that you know the core value, you know the authentic crayon color, right? Instead of trying to shape shift into, you know, the person you want to be for someone else, or put them in a situation where they give you their representative, and then you find out 6 months later you ain't no damn blue crayon, you're a yellow. You're yellow. Why didn't I think about this before? I didn't ask the right questions because I love the rapping so much. I
yeah,
didn't ask the right questions because I didn't fix my insecurities, and I'm actually looking for somebody to fill in some voids. I didn't ask the right questions because I haven't done enough of my self work, that I don't necessarily know what it is that I'm truly looking for. I'm looking for a right now, not a forever. Do you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah. That's good. That girl went on a tangent about crayons. I'm like, I need to go.
But that's one of the things that I noticed, and it's interesting because when I watch your shows, you know, a lot of times I'll say, yeah, I see a crayon color, or I'll notice they're gonna have to work on themselves to offer a stronger intimacy structure,
Yeah,
right? And that structure is this, and I want to ask you how you feel about that. I believe this, and again, it goes to the core. You know how I feel about love your neighbor as you love yourself, and my focus is on loving yourself and understanding the mindset on love and the thought process of your self-worth and how you feel about love through neurolinguistics. And I always say love requires respect. Respect requires trust. Trust requires safety, right? And that is like a full box. And the only way to have all those boxes connect is through compassionate communication, right?
yeah,
Compassionate communication is communicating with grace, with understanding, right? With forgiveness ready. I, you making mistakes, to me, is an opportunity to learn, and it's
yeah,
proof of effort, right? So as long as you are making some effort, then I have to extend some compassionate communication
Yep.
and talk to you with kindness and understanding and love, right? And that's how you offer primary love, through compassionate communication. Here's a safe space. Be who you are. I have to create safety for you. Because if I can't feel safe to be who I am and talk to you with full transparency and vulnerability, right? Then I'm going to keep some information from you, or I'm going to suppress some things that I may be feeling, or I'm not going to tell you, some things that, are really sensitive about my past, because you are not a safe space for me to be myself.
Yeah.
And if someone can't be a safe space, how do you trust when you start going backwards, right? You got to go forwards, because if not, now you're not a safe space. I can't trust somebody I don't feel safe with. I can't respect somebody I don't trust and feel safe with. How do I love somebody? You go back. How do I love somebody I don't respect, trust, and feel safe with? Those boxes need to connect. If not, they're going to fall the other way around, and your intimacy box is
You
broken.
started off by about to ask me a question. What was the question you going to ask me?
Right. Do you feel that structure, knowing what that structure is now, do you feel that is important in a relationship wiring?
1,000%. 1,000%. I love when you said compassionate communication. I mean,
Mhm,
yeah, compassionate communication, right?
mhm,
Um, the word compassion is so beautiful, because at the end of the day, it's like I'm communicating with your needs in mind, and your heart at the forefront. I'm already communicating with you, saying I'm compassionate towards your needs, and I'm here in this sacrificial posture, saying that I'm willing to serve your needs. But I'm communicating that effectively to make sure that I'm honoring you, I'm not disrespecting you, I'm not minimizing your wants and needs and desires, but that's the most healthy form of communication. I've never even heard that, compassionate communication, and that's what resonated when you said that. But that beautiful box that you illustrated is so important, because you can't fail in that structure. There's no way you can have an unhealthy relationship. The box that you created is everything that you want in a healthy relationship, and fostering that type of relationship. Not only will you have the love that you truly desire, but you'll be able to create purpose and legacy,
mhm,
because you use that same box if you want to build business with your mate, you want to raise kids, whatever it is, you can use that same box, and everything that you build with that said individual will always thrive. And so I love how you illustrated that, because it's effective love building, and
Ooh, I
I
like
love it.
that.
Yeah,
Effective love building.
it's effective
Ooh,
love building. Yeah. So yeah, I
that's
love
really
it.
good. That's
Yeah. So I
really
know
good.
that's it.
I want to unpack this because I've had a couple of people challenge me about the word need, right? So I want to ask you. I did a post, and I took a poll, and I said, because a guy was just like, a man doesn't want a woman that don't need him. When you have so many women now saying, I don't need a man,
Yeah.
I don't need a man, I don't need a man. And he said it completely scares men off when a woman says, I don't need you, right?
Yeah.
But yet, on another hand, I had another guy who said, I don't want a woman who needs me, because then what if her needs,
Change.
are met? And then
Yeah.
what happens when she no longer needs me, and I can't provide the needs, or the few that she did need, I already met them and she don't have no more. You know, what do you
I
think about
I think need is relative, because I've said that before, to be like, well, you want a woman that needs you, you want a woman that wants you. If a woman needs you, if her needs change, then she no longer needs you. But I think need is a continuum. So if I need my woman in my life, and I need her, then I need her for my emotional, all the things that you said in your box,
that?
to build trust with her, somebody that I can lean on, somebody I'm vulnerable with, somebody I can be transparent with. And those things will never change. I will never not need a safe space in my life. I will never not need the place that I call peace. And so I need that. They talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs or whatnot. There
Mhm.
are certain needs. It's not uh, hierarchy of wants. It's literally needs. And so when
Right.
we need that person in our life for those whatever that is that we need, that will never change. When you
Mhm.
if the need is I need a man that's going to give me money, well, that's superficial anyway. I need a
Right.
man that's going to buy me a Christian Louboutin. Like that's what I need a man to
Right.
make sure you get my hair done. Well, that's basic stuff. You don't even want that type of person. But when
Yeah.
you talk about true needs, I want somebody I can trust. I want somebody that will not weaponize my vulnerability. I need somebody that I can talk to about some of my deepest secrets. I need someone that I can just rest in, and they know me so much that when I'm going through anything emotionally, I can just sit there and I can just rest in them, and then they'll wait patiently for me to be able to, when I decide to share it, that they're not making me feel bad. Oh, it took you so long. It took you long enough to start. They like, what you
Yeah.
need? I just need you to be here right now. Okay. And he
Yeah.
sits there or she sits there and rests in that moment. That's a need. So when I think of need, I think about those soft skills, those intangibles that are not materialistic. I need somebody to take care of my kids. Well, your kids gonna grow up one day and they're gonna go on about it. So your need was so superficial. But if you say
Mm.
I need someone that I can build legacy with, that will never stop. Your kids grow older, they move on. That your legacy is not just the kids. The legacy is the whole thing that you leave on this earth when you die. Helping people. You need somebody that doesn't that if you're a giver, that you marry someone who's also a giver that supports you in that need that you have to go bless other people. And so, yeah, I understand what people were saying. I understand how controversial that is. I understand how um, even that toxic mentality when you hear women say, "I don't need no man. I can do it. I can do this on my own. I can do this," and it's like, "Well, do it on your own." Well,
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm saying. I mean, I still want to be with somebody, but I ain't. I don't, hey, let's be clear. I don't need you. See, when you start saying that, you are minimizing the role of that the husband is in your life. When
Right.
God decided, when God desired for us to have, He said, "It is not good for man to live alone." That's the reason why He created Eve, because He said, "It is not good for man to live alone." So that
Right.
means, and he says, so I will create from him a suitable helpmate. He said, I will create that for him because being by himself ain't good. So then you can't have a woman think the opposite. Well, I don't need no man. You're like, well, hold
Mhm.
on. I'll put y'all to be working together. Y'all supposed to be helping each other. Now you say, forget him. I can do it on my own. And you came
Right.
from him, but now you say you don't even need him. Like it,
Right.
it don't even make sense. It's a toxic, and it's basically, I understand how that ideology came to be. It's because way back in the day, men used to use their finances to control women because women weren't working. They were the homemakers, and
It
so a
wasn't
man,
allowed.
yeah, it wasn't even allowed. So a man was like, "Oh, listen, I'm doing this. I'll run it. He who has the gold makes the rules. So I have the money. I'm gonna tell you what to do. I'm gonna give you an allowance, woman, and you do as I say." And it was controlled from that thing. So then the women liberation movement came. They started making their own
Mhm.
money. They started out earning men. They started doing this. Like, I don't need no man. Because at first the need was, even from a biblical standpoint, is that women needed men for their sustenance. They needed men just to provide life for them, to pay bills, to give them shelter, to give them their basic need to survive.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then when a
Ooh.
husband left the woman, they were destitute and they had to go find
Right.
out how they gonna survive.
Right.
Well, when women met their needs themselves by making their own money, getting their nice cars, having their 401ks, getting degrees, they're educated, they'd be like, well,
Mhm.
I don't need a man anymore.
Well, at least not for survival. I always tell women in your communication, just say, I don't need a man for survival. I want one. There are emotional needs that I would like, to be
Yeah.
to be added to my life. Like I want, and I tell women all the time, you need to become a necessity
Yes.
to a man. I want my man to say she's a necessity in my life because the things that she provides, I crave, I desire, I require, right, for my level of peace to have, these ducks in a row and these things, and she provides that, she brings value to that. She is a necessity. I may
Yeah.
not I may not need her, or I may not need him for survival, but my man is a necessity.
Mm.
I can feel the difference when the presence is missing.
She
You
says
understand?
necessity.
So you're right. You're right that with the liberation movement, and
Yeah.
I think what I always try to tell men is sometimes when women say that, don't get offended really quick. You know, try to dig in a little bit and
But men
ask
aren't gonna ask
follow-up
that.
questions.
Men not gonna be that in tune to care to ask a woman, what do you mean by that? When you say you don't need me, what do they mean? They're gonna attach it to their own past trauma and be like, all right, forget it. You don't need me, forget you. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna take it as a slap in the face and move on to move on.
Yeah.
Because we've heard it so much. We hear it in women's songs. I remember a song that was so toxic when I was growing up was a song by Destiny Child saying I don't need no scrub. A scrub is a man that can't
Oh,
get no.
TLC.
Yeah,
TLC.
I mean, TLC. Yes,
Yeah.
a scrub is a man that can't get no love from me. Sitting on the passenger side of his best friend ride, trying to holler at me. So you just basically told a man that he is worthless if he's just sitting in the passenger seat of his homeboy's car. He can't even talk to you. So I remember in times when I'll be rolling with my homeboy, I have my own car, but if I'm in his car, I remember in my brain, I said, I couldn't even talk to a girl if I want to because I'm in his car right now.
I'm looking like a scrub. But then you turn around and you have music by Miriam Woods and turn around and say, I would stop breathing if you told me to. Now Mary. Now Mary. Now Mary.
She said I would stop breathing if you told me to.
I would stop breathing if you told me to. Now you're busy loving because you're busy loving someone else. Like, now we got it can't go from one extreme to the next. Now, my goodness, now shucks, Mary. You can't tell a woman she gotta stop breathing because she ain't getting her needs met by no man. But you also can't tell a man, you ain't worth nothing. You ain't worth my love if you in a passenger seat. You know what I'm saying? You ain't, because now we got Ubers. We got Ubers and Lyfts. But what that means?
That means you can't even get a phone number if you're in an Uber. You can't get
okay.
So it's just stuff that we've been taught and brainwashed, and then we reduce the beautiful thing that you illustrated about what love really is. We reduce it to finances, or we reduce it to stuff that just don't matter. Like, and then we create what a high value man is based upon just straight finances. He has no moral compass. He has no character. He doesn't have high integrity. He just is a high earner, and he's called high value.
I've been paying attention to this high value man and high value woman conversation. And the funny thing is, absolutely none of it talks about being emotionally stable, emotionally and mentally healthy, spiritually grounded, right? It's all about what they can provide financially. But at the end of the day, for a woman that feels like she don't need no man in a negative sense, you're not going to you don't need necessarily a high value man because all he provides is the finances, right? You need a middle class man. You need a middle class man, right?
Yeah.
Who ain't up here in the finances, but in the center, in the middle where your heart is at. And I think that do you think that we spend so much time dating and being in the world dealing with people with our emotional filters? Because that's what came to mind when you said we've been programmed so much that a man won't even listen to a woman when she says, I don't need a man, because he's heard it so much. He's listening through emotional filters of past experiences and not even asking this woman, well, what do you mean by that? I know you wouldn't do that. I know that you would ask a woman, you know what I'm saying?
I love asking questions.
Ask me questions. What do you mean by that when you say that, Keyonna? What is your mindset behind that comment? How do you think you can get men or people, period, to not listen?
You have to care. So you can't make people care. You have to at least care. because that's the foundation. Care enough to say, let me dig a little deeper and be a student. I'm a student of love. I love to learn. I don't think I know everything, so I'm always a student of saying when I meet. And I'm gonna tell you, when I was younger, I used to put all women in one box. I used to do the same thing for every woman. I just elevated it. Meaning I would say when I was 17, I'd be like, no, when I got 18, my first real girlfriend as an adult, because I'm 18 now and I graduated, so I'm an adult now. So my first relationship, I got her a tennis bracelet. And then when we broke up a year or two later, the next girlfriend, I got her a tennis bracelet, but even with more diamonds in it, a higher carat weight. And then the next girlfriend, I just feel like every girlfriend, you get her a tennis bracelet. Because back then everybody was like, he got me a tennis bracelet. And the little first tennis bracelet was a little $100 tennis bracelet. Diamond ain't clear whatsoever. It just looked like flour. It's just cloudy to the mud. I didn't know what diamonds was supposed to be like. They said get a tennis bracelet, so I got a tennis bracelet. It cost $100, so that was a hard-earned $100 when I was making $7. It wasn't even $7. I think it was $5.50 an hour or something. So I get you $100 tennis bracelet. I'm doing something. And then I got a little older. I said, I'm gonna get you a 2-carat diamond tennis bracelet, but the 2 carats they still cloudy. And then when I got married and I learned about diamonds, I became a sort of a gemologist to some degree, and I studied diamond and I studied VVS ratings and all that type of stuff. And I said, oh, it's not so much about how big the diamond is, it's about the clarity and how it reflects light. And is it reflecting yellow? And if it reflects, let me study the diamond. Let me study the clarity of it. And I said, so then my ex-wife, I got her a really nice tennis bracelet. It was 4 carats, but it was like a $4,000 tennis bracelet or whatever. And it was clear, it was beautiful. And so I say all that to say, I thought that every woman just wanted a tennis bracelet. And so if you date with the ideology to treat every woman the same and every woman is the same, then you're not doing the work in discovering and uncovering and recovering the woman that God blesses you with, because you're like, I'm gonna treat Keyonna just like I treated Sarah, in the same way I treated all women the same. They all want you to buy them stuff. Y'all want them to do this. They all want that. And you miss it. You meet a woman whose love language is words of affirmation, and you over here buying Louis Vuitton purses and all that. And she's like, I don't even like this stuff. Have you not noticed that I don't even have designer anything around me? I don't care about that stuff. You coming over and giving me all this stuff, and you can't even tell me that I'm beautiful. And then he says, but everybody tells you're beautiful. Why you need me to say it? And you go, but it's not you telling me that. I need you to tell me that I'm beautiful. Right. And so when I started learning later on in life that it's about the individual and learning to love that person the way they need to be loved. Fantasia, and I talk about this a lot in one of my podcasts. I say, I love Fantasia's song. She has a song called Teach Me. Now that's an emotionally intelligent song, because she says, teach me how to love you. Show me I'm willing to learn. Following every instruction, I'll be a scholar when we are done. And what she is saying is that I'm not going to use what my ex-boyfriend was or what I was to the last guy in this, or in Laterra's case, I'm going to treat you the same way I treated my ex-girlfriend, all that. I want you to teach me. I want to know what you need. I want you to show compassionate conversation, and I want to have this conversation with you so you can say, I need this. Love me like this. When you sit, the other day when you came by my house and you asked me if I had eaten anything that day. And I said, no, I'm not really hungry. And, I haven't eaten or whatever. I've been busy working or whatever. And you came and you just brought me a smoothie. That meant so much to me. Yeah. And it was a conversation that one of my guests had where the guy, when he came into town, she had M&Ms for him when he got off the plane. And he was like, M&Ms? He was so happy. Why? Because he had told her that was his favorite little thing or whatever. He said, I love M&Ms. Or no, I don't think he told her. She saw him eating some M&Ms. And every time that she would see them or talking on video call, they had a relationship long distance, he'll just be eating M&Ms. And she was just like,
like M&Ms.
Like M&Ms. So when she got off, he gave her some M&Ms. That touched him on a high level. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you got me M&Ms? I remember one day I did this for this girl. I got her Snickers because she loved Snickers. And I went on a date with her and I got her Snickers. And then she started affectionately calling me Snickers. She said, hey, Snickers. And then she started saying, you're my Snickers. I was pretty sexy like that. But she started calling me her Snickers. But it's because I met her need without her even communicating. So the deeper level is when you are so in tune that they don't have to tell you what they need. You just meet it automatically because you listen and you watch and you observe and you go, Keyonna really would like this. And you just do it. And then she goes, oh, you've been paying attention to me. You know what I'm saying? That makes somebody feel so special. And that's why I say we just got to do a better job of not looking through the lens of, well, the other person, she didn't like when I did that. She didn't like that. My ex-wife used to love massages. And not massages to go out and get massages. She liked when I would do it. And me, I remember sometimes I'd be like, well, let me just go and pay for your massage. But it didn't hit the same as me massaging her because that was a level of intimacy that she needed, you know? And so if we can step outside of ourselves and say, in order to meet my own needs, I need to meet your needs, it'll be a beautiful figure eight that continually takes place with our love life.
Yeah. I always want someone to teach me to love you the way you receive love, because I don't
Yes.
want to love you how my ex loved, right?
Yes.
And not only that, I say, you have to love people the way they receive it, not the only way you know how, right?
Yes.
Because you need to know, am I even capable of loving them the way they receive it? Because if not, I can't hold them prisoner, hold them hostage. That's not what love is, to forcing them to receive it the only way I know how. Technically, then you're not loving them,
Being
right?
selfish.
It's selfish.
You're
It's very
loving you. That's what you're doing. You're loving you without even taking them into consideration. Because I had a conversation before this, and I was telling a friend, I said, do you really know what love is? Because I have a friend that always just says, I love you. And I said, what does that mean to you? You know, I ask questions all the time. What does that mean to you? She's like, it means I love you. I said, but what does love mean to you? I said, let's go and look at 1 Corinthians 13, because I recognize that I was saying that I love my ex-wife, and I didn't really love her. Because if I funnel it through what 1 Corinthians 13 says, and one of the verses says it keeps no record of wrong. Love always protects. I said I didn't always protect her. You know, it had all this beautiful definition of what love is, and I can honestly say that I never truly loved her. I loved her from a place of a young, immature boy, but I didn't love her from a biblically based man. And that's the humble pie that I had to eat. And if we really look at what really true love is, we'll find that a lot of us, we struggle with truly loving somebody, because the minute our needs aren't met, we're going to go serve ourselves and that's not what love is. Right. And so it's deep. We used to have a lot of work. And that's what I love so much about my podcast is I get a chance to hear these beautiful conversations from singles and married folks and hear how they get it wrong. And they're transparent enough to say, I got it wrong. And this is what I learned about it. And this is how we grew. And this is how we overcame this situation, because none of us know everything. We're all trying to figure it out. And the minute you think you figured it out, then you start dating somebody else or get engaged to someone else. And then you get a chance to feel their experiences and you go, wow, okay, haven't dealt with this one before. Okay, all right, this is different. Okay, let me see how I show up in this situation. And as you're showing up, you make mistakes, you cover each other with grace, and y'all continue to build and have something beautiful.
Yes. And you're right. I think people should be able to break down what it is that they value. And if you say you value love, like I value love, I can give you what I believe is the character breakdown of that. And that's why it's important to operate in your values, because you always show up as yourself. You're always yourself. I'm always loving. I can break that down. It's kind, it's patient, it's gentle, it's full of grace, it's compassionate, slow to anger, quick to forgive, all of those things. And I was able to say that's going to be your experience of me. That's what a loving experience is going to be like with me. Whether you're my friend, you're my spouse, whether you're my family, it's an experience from me. And even when I was dating the guy I'm with now, I actually had to extend additional amount of grace because he was operating while we were dating, operating out of fear of rejection. So he kept making mistakes, fearing because of the past relationships, him showing up as himself got rejected or not accepted. Yeah. So because of that, I had to let him know I'm a safe space. You can
Yes.
be yourself. You can be honest. If this is how you feel, talk to me about, what you feel. I can honor and validate how you feel and guide you, right, into a
Yes.
different direction. We can talk about this. And he eventually was just like, you know what? I can be me. I can be me and be okay that,
Yes.
there will be no judgment or condemnation. And it's okay to make a mistake.
Yes.
It's okay to make a mistake. And with that, I just feel like people need to know themselves. It really goes right back into the loving yourself first.
I love
Loving
when you say okay to make a mistake. That's a good closing statement. It's okay to make a mistake. Because if you allow someone to know that it's okay to make a mistake with me, then that person, you'll find they'll be least likely to make a mistake. They'll be so on edge. They'll be like, okay, it's cool that I can make a mistake, but now I want to do right. You know what I'm saying? They'll just always want to do right. But if they feel like if you make a mistake, I'm going to leave you, then they're going to fumble it. Like you tell somebody, it's like I always say, I think it's the craziest thing when someone leaves the house and then someone tells them, hey, drive safely. As if you didn't think no, I was actually planning on driving reckless today. You know what I'm saying? Like,
about that.
yeah, they'd be like, drive safely. It'd be like, I thought that's what I always do. And it make you be
Exactly.
subconscious, like drive safe. Okay,
Yeah.
what are they saying to me? But when you sit there and you don't put that pressure on as if they're gonna make a mistake or whatever, like let me tell you something. I'm telling you this up out the gate. You treat me wrong, I'm leaving you. I'm not sticking around for such a you set that up at the very beginning, the person like
Yeah. They start being afraid to make a mistake and they're not intentional. Now they're trying to create a version of themselves for you that's
yeah.
perfect or flawless. And that's not even possible. Like, what you
Hey,
just
I'm telling you right now, I ain't sitting around for no foolishness. Now I'm telling you, like my last boyfriend did me like
you
this.
got one time.
You got one time, I'm out of here. You be like, wow. You be like, oh shoot, okay. What
It's
does she
like,
mean by
playing double dutch. Like, do
that?
I talk? Do I say this? Do I say this? Do I do like, should I act like this? Should I do this? Should I speak it? Should I breathe? Am I breathing
You'd
too
be
heavy? Is my
scared.
breath stank? You know,
You'd be
like,
scared. It'll be
you
the
know,
scariest
I'm
thing
I'm
ever.
I don't accidentally want to poot. Oh, I poot. They're gonna leave
Oh,
me,
she gonna say I'm
like,
nasty. She might leave me.
she
You'd
might
be
leave me.
like, so you hit the
Um,
nail on the head
yeah.
to create a safe space that the person can't make mistakes. And this is what I actually do with my kids. I tell my kids, I'll be like, you're going to make mistakes. Stop taking it so hard. Because I have a son that struggles with suicide. I'll be like, suicide ideation. I was like, bruh, why are you acting like that? Because I just make mistakes and I just want to kill myself. You're going to make mistakes. You're 18 years old. I
Mhm.
expect you to make mistakes.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you're going to make mistakes, bro. I make mistakes and I'm 44. We make mistakes. Don't kill yourself just because of a mistake.
Right.
I said, you'll realize that there's nothing you can do so bad that you shouldn't live anymore. It's nothing. There's
Yeah.
nothing. I said, you can find some of the most hardened criminals that they still own life. They give them life without parole, but they still didn't take their life away. You know what I'm saying? And I said, think about it. People that have killed people, did all this stuff, they say, I'm giving you life in prison. They don't say, you're going to die because you done did some work. You did this so much bad that I'm going to kill you. It's more people that are serving life in prison versus death row. And I said, but you give yourself a sentence of death row and want to kill yourself because
Yeah.
you made some little mistakes, like little simple stuff. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And he was like, I never thought of it like that. And I'm like, man, I'm telling you, like, it's not that bad.
And they're
You
young.
make it think, yeah, you young and your mind is you still don't have your frontal lobe, so you is not fully developed. So
That's
you making rash decisions.
Yeah,
And
and that's
so
great advice. I tell my son all the time, if you can't make a mistake, what can you make? My goodness, if you can't make a mistake, what
What
can
can
you
you
what
make?
can you make? I said, honestly, sometimes when you make mistakes, sometimes you want to celebrate those because they're proof of effort, of trying, a proof of effort of trying. And now you've created an opportunity to learn something. You have given yourself an opportunity to learn it a different way and try again. Celebrate that. You
I'm
know
gonna
what
tell
I'm
you.
saying?
I'm gonna tell you how that is. So I did this interview where I talked about. She started asking me questions about my infidelity in my past marriage, which I've been open about. And some
Mhm.
people comment like, "He sounds like he's bragging. He don't even care. He's minimizing or whatever." I said, "Let me tell you something. I'm so far removed from that person. I'm not bragging about it. It's just that I can openly talk about it." And I said, and I can talk about it not from the shame that I used to have back. I said, before, I wouldn't tell nobody. Nobody knew. I wouldn't even talk to a therapist about it. I wouldn't talk to my wife about it. I wouldn't tell nobody about it. So you
Wow.
take a man that wouldn't tell nobody about it to a man that now can talk to the world about it. That's what healing looks like. But because through your lens, you can't see it because you don't even understand that level of perspective, that you look at it as he just casually talk about it. The Bible says, Paul says, I boast in my weakness. When I first read that scripture, I said, there's no way I'll do that. Why am I going to, you can't tell nobody you weak. People going, if you tell people you're weak in the area, they're going to use that as a weapon against you. Why would I ever boast in my weakness? I
Yeah.
remember seeing that scripture in my early 20s, and now I'm 44, and I finally understood what that scripture truly means, and now I can boast in it. And the boasting comes from the fact is, gosh, look what God did through me. I
Right.
remember when I felt worthless. I remember when I felt like I couldn't even live another day because the shame of what I was dealing with was so heavy that I didn't even want to take my next breath. And now here I am, being delivered from that mindset and watching other people being delivered and set free, and all the men that now come to me because they hear me being transparent about, and they go, man, I ain't never heard a man just talk like that about. That's what I'm going through right now. How can you walk me through this with my wife? And then God has used the demise of my marriage to restore other people's marriages. That's what I boast in. And so that's what Paul was talking about when he said, I boast in my weakness, is to be able to look back on who you used to be and realize that's not who I am now.
Yes! Listen! You better boast about your testimony. Boast about the testimony. Do it.
I'm trying to tell you, man. I'm trying to tell you
I'm
different perspective.
and the beautiful thing about that, and I'm gonna close with that, is you had to sit with yourself and you had to do the work of taking off the shame of being aware of what you did, right? Taking your accountability, healing in those areas, and then healing so much and loving you so much and giving you so much and being intimate with yourself so much, right? That the overspill, people are the benefiting factors of your own healing and self-love.
Yeah.
Seriously, anybody who has access to you are the recipients of your love for yourself
Yes.
and the healing
Yes.
that you did for yourself. And now, because you spent so much beautiful time with yourself, now you can share and direct people to what it's like to experience love with you.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
amazing. That's amazing. All right, guys. It's good, but we got to go.
Yes.
It's
Thank
good,
you
but
for having me.
we got to go. You're so welcome. What would you leave the audience with around the world? Because our, Life Matters people, we hear from all over, looking like all a bit of everything.
It's to get to a place within yourself that you can be free, vulnerable, and transparent. Do the work of healing. Get therapy. If y'all need a good therapist, there she is. She's right here in front of you. But do the work of therapy, and that's the only way that you can get to I always call it the 3.0 version of yourself. You can become the 3.0 version of Laterras or Keyonna when you go do the work, and when you now do the work, you'll never be that person that you ever was before. And when you look in the mirror, you'll see something that's so beautiful, and you'll be able to truly love yourself and truly know yourself. I find many people, they hide from themselves. A lot of people can't even look in the mirror. Michael Jackson had that song that says, I'm looking at the man in the mirror, because it's like, And he said, and I'm asking him to change his ways. Well, that song was way back then, but it's so hard for people to actually look at the man in the mirror because they be like, oh, it ain't me, it's him. Now, if they didn't do this to me, I wouldn't have done this. One of the things that I said for my past marriage is I said I cheated because I lacked integrity. Then, you know, friends that know me, it's like, well, no, if she would have did, no. I understand that there was other things that were catalysts that made cheating easier. But the reality was I cheated because I had a lack of integrity. If I had higher integrity, I could have walked away from the marriage without the stain of infidelity that I brought into the marriage. And I said, but I cheated because I had a lack of integrity. So doing the work on addressing whatever that brokenness is in ourselves, to do the work, that's when we become the refined version. We come back, we come through purified as gold. Gold goes through a strenuous process in order to become the beautiful metal that we idolize on our fingers or around our necks. But it's the pressing process of the gold that makes it something beautiful for everybody to behold. And so what God has created with me, which is something so beautiful to behold in front of the world, is the pressing process that I've come forth as gold now. And they see it now. And they're like, wow, this is so beautiful, this or whatever. But I find that when you start talking about the pressing process of what I went through, that people that aren't healed, they'll find themselves triggered, be like, I can't listen to nothing you've ever said before if you used to be that. And it's like, oh boy, that's the beautiful thing about redemption. And so for everyone to go through that redemptive process so that you can become everything that God desired and designed you to become.
Yes, absolutely. That was good. That was like food to my soul. Where can everybody find you? Because I know they're gonna be looking for you after this.
Instagram, Laterras R Whitfield, and subscribe to the Dear Future Wifey podcast on YouTube.
Subscribe, y'all. It's really good. All right. I will see you next time. And remember, everybody, make life matter. See ya.
Love it. Thank you.